In episode number 256 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, we cover the return of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
We also have your first look at the worst breakup of the century. No, I'm not talking about Chris Pratt and Anna Faris. I am talking about Disney and Netflix breaking up.
But it looks like Netflix has found a new darling because Mark Millar has a streaming acquisition for Millarworld with the giant streaming company that is, of course, Netflix.
All of this and much more on today's show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
Friend and new brokeheads to the show, welcome to the podcast. The way we format it is we go over some news first, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. We head on over into our Patreon shout-out of the week, and then we typically end it with a comic book highlight. This week, we won't be having a comic book highlight, just like last week, I think, too. Mm-hmm. There wasn't really a good jumping on point or a good number one that we can cover and recommend to brokettes. So instead, we did take in questions from listeners to help fill out the lighter news week and, of course, the lack of comic book highlight this week. And that'll be at the very end after, once again, our Patreon shout-outs.
Before we get into all that, though, I would just like to share with brokeheads that we have had a busy-ass week.
Yeah. I hinted last week that it was going to be difficult, and I told Neil on Twitter that this was a test run of, Leo being born, because the amount of time that's been completely gone has been, and the exhaustion of work is very real right now. So we were debating last night, maybe we should record tonight and get it taken care of. You'll have, the nights to edit and put it up. And instead we were like, we're too exhausted. We're too tired. Tonight we're knocking it out. We're doing it.
We're trying.
And I'm going to have to edit later on, some point later on this weekend, in what's already going to be a very busy week. So start with you on what's really been happening here.
Well, besides work, I sprained my foot because I got too fat, I guess.
Too pregnant.
Too pregnant. I was chasing the dog around the house for her birthday because that's what you do for a little dog's birthday. You play and you chase around the house. And I must have stepped funny on my foot and sprained it. And there's no point in going to the doctor. So, because the doctor's just going to say, just stay off of it. But I can't stay off of it because then it cuts into my maternity time because I have to take off of work. It's a mess. So I've been walking around with my poor strained foot all week, which made it the longest week ever. We also got in Leo's bedroom furniture.
Oh my God.
Which you have to build, and it is the furniture from hell.
I heard all about this.
Oh my God.
I was just coming off of work, and I'm like, oh boy, just leave the furniture. Don't worry about it. We'll work on it later.
And see, I'm one of those women where, I like to build things. I like to put them together because then I have that sense of accomplishment. Because I could easily call my dad and my brother and just tell them to build it. But I want to build it. I need to read the instructions and put it together and all this nonsense. And granted, we didn't buy him the most expensive furniture because why are you going to spend that much money? Get him something that's functional. I was talking to somebody who spent $800 on a crib. I'm like, you're insane. But, of course, when you don't spend a lot of money on furniture, it comes in a box like IKEA, and you gotta put it together. So I've been doing that, and the whole time I knew I had reached the point of total frustration, not just because I was cursing all over the place, but because I wished I had Magneto's superpowers just so I could screw in the screws.
When your mind starts going fucking goddamn God fucking screw, piece of shit. If I were Magneto, you wouldn't be fucking doing this shit, man. If I only had superpowers.
So then I started thinking, how long does it take Magneto to put together IKEA furniture?
That's true, but it can't be that long. I think at some point, though, he would have too much strength and screwing them in, so it wouldn't even screw in because of the track. It would screw in because he just shoved it through the wood, and it might end up worse. I don't know. Or he could
would be equally as frustrated as I am.
He could be. He could use his Magneto powers to try to unscrew it, but then accidentally just pull the whole screw out and then ruin the wood underneath. I feel like
he has better control over his powers by now.
Maybe. I don't know why he's building furniture if he's if he's got better powers, he's well off in his career then, and he's got other people that can build the furniture for him.
I was frustrated, and there was nobody building this furniture for me. So thankfully, between you and my dad and my mom, we figured out part of it, and then my dad's like, just leave it, Kelly. I will take care of it while you're at work tomorrow.
And it's mostly built, right?
Yeah,
it's getting
the frame's done. We just have to put in the drawers and fix the door. And
yeah, that ended up coming off the track, or it's on the track, but it's still scraping against the top. But you'll figure it out tomorrow.
Yes,
don't worry.
yes.
It's just furniture.
So that's been my week. Not nearly as busy as your week, though.
No, so it's all work related. I don't like to, of course, mix work and the podcast, but what I can say is that I'm well over 40 hours these past couple of weeks. It's been back to back to back, 12 to 15 hour shifts. And I know it's for many people out there, that's the norm. Like, that's what I do every fucking week, asshole. Like, for 7 days a week. Sometimes I don't work. And I used to be there when I worked at GameStop and Disney and the comic book store. I had 3 jobs at one point, and that was like I haven't had a day off in 3 months. Whatever. It's just not a big deal. So that's one thing I'll always have. Like over like the part-timers at any of my jobs, like, oh, I don't get a day. I only get 1 day off this week. I'm like, really? You get a day off? I went 3 months without a day off, and I did not complain once. So this is just like, okay, 12-hour shift, 15-hour shift. I've been there. I've done longer. Like my longest shift was when I worked at AMC and IHOP. Then I went back to back on the shifts. Like I ended one and I went to the other job, and that was a 34-hour shift.
Oy.
So it's like, that's fine. Like it's not a big deal. I'll do these shifts, but it's we're setting up a whole new location, and of course I'm working on that with 2 other coworkers, and because it's only 3 of us, it's a lot to get done in a short amount of time. So it's been a lot of furniture building, IKEA furniture, regular, retail fixtures.
I bet you wish you had magneto powers too.
I was getting like, I don't get frustrated, I guess. Maybe I just get like, oh, well, I got to figure out a way to do this. Or it's like, you try to get this thing. And it's IKEA furniture, though, at the end of the day. It's not as difficult as like I don't know what company you got your thing from, but it's
from
not an
Bye Bye Baby.
It's not an IKEA thing.
And it's a schiffer robe. That's how you know it's fucking complicated. It's a schiffer robe.
So it's been a lot of setting up shelving and furniture, and it's just like a lot of things to do in a short period of time. And, we're just putting in the hours and getting it done. And that's what you have to do. So because of that, the podcast, I've been going at late at night. I'll get home. I'm tired. We'll eat. And then, I'll pull up the news stories, pulling them up on a tab. And I'm like, when I have more energy tomorrow, I will go ahead and put these in the show notes, sift through, because I pull up a shit ton of news stories and not all of them make it to the show. I'll put some on there and sometimes I'll remove some. I'm like, this is way more interesting. And I don't want to have like a 2 to 3 hour show. They're not, listeners aren't used to that. So we want to keep it at the slightly over an hour podcast. So there's a whole lot that goes on before we even record. Like the podcast is an ongoing hobby that I work on whenever I do have some free time. And of course, it is my priority ahead of like the Let's Plays or the unboxing. It's the podcast because that's what people enjoy. So all of that put together with all of this work, with the work you're putting in, I've got a kid coming as well, and we're trying to prepare for little Leo. And it's of course the little doggie. She had her birthday, and my parents. So I'm trying to make time to see them too. And I just understand that right now is a period of grind, get it fucking done. Eventually, things will settle again. And then, of course, the kid will come, and again, it's going to be grinding, and that will settle. But I'm getting it done, and you're getting it done. You're sitting here recording with me, even though you open early tomorrow, and we're recording, and hopefully you guys enjoy today's episode.
You better enjoy today's episode.
And I've got to get it edited in a timely fashion so the Patreon backers can get it early too. So
speaking of Leo, though, just to give listeners a heads up, we are down to 10 weeks away.
10 weeks away.
10 weeks. 9 weeks.
Sooner than Justice League.
That is sooner than Justice League. We're 9 weeks, give or take. He's probably going to be 2 weeks late, but that's not a whole lot of weeks. So we will soon have a little baby. I will have to say goodbye to the podcast just for a little bit while I recover and learn how to function with the newborn.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, and we'll either take a break from the show, for a couple weeks or maybe a month or two, or I will try to bring in a ton of guest spots every single week so we can put out something. And we'll see where I'm at, though. I've never had a kid. I don't know how much, even less free time I'm going to have, especially with this change in work and this change in my life with Leo. But rest assured, we're, of course, going to come back if we do take a break, but as we get closer, we'll decide. I'll let you all know, but I will let you know that what I want to do with the show is to definitely have guests on. And I have a lot of, like Purple Swordfish has already said, yeah, whenever you need me, just let me know. I'm trying to get a hold of Riggs and try to get him on a show. And if anything, I can get some of my local friends too to hop on, maybe even the guys over at Super Side Up. So it's all going to be something that I'll contact as we get closer and see if we can make that happen. By the time I do the first one, and this is when Leo's already there, the first guest spot, I'll know how much time I actually have to edit. Not necessarily to record, because that's an hour and a half or so, but to actually sit down and edit while I'm being interrupted with Leo and work and everything else. So we'll see what happens, but we'll get there when we get there. Especially right now, I don't want to stress about it.
Right. It's learn as you go.
As regular listeners know, we normally do a couple of hashtag games before we jump into the news, and we do have this week's, but first, the theme song.
So we do have 3 hashtag games coming your way this week. First one is hashtag I can always use more.
My response was, I can always use more bags and boards. There is forever an intake of comic books.
We also had a response from @Madner.com who says, hashtag I can always use more Nolan Batman films and Tim Dini Conroy Batman the Animated Series.
Excellent response, Matt. He is, of course, one of the hosts on the Super Side Up podcast. Excuse me.
I can always use more sleep and food. That is where I am at in my life.
Look at you, coming up right on the fly with a response on the hashtag.
It's not hard when you're pregnant to think about sleep and food.
And as a reminder, if you do want to participate in the hashtag games, make sure to follow us on Twitter @ReasonsI'mBroke and Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke. Next hashtag game was hashtag school supply video games. My response was Mighty Number 9 pencil.
We also have one from Eric on Facebook who said command and calculator.
That's a good one. We had a lot of responses too, but picked out a few. Bobby also on Facebook said World of Warcrafting glue, loose leaf paperboy, Lord of the Binder rings.
I like Lord of the Binder rings. That's my favorite.
And the final hashtag game was hashtag comic book a novel. My response was Moby Dick Grayson.
We also have some from @SomewhatCreative who said Captain American Psycho, Bane Spotting.
That was my favorite one.
Captain American Psycho.
No, the Bane Spotting.
What movie is that off of?
Train Spotting. Novel.
I don't know what Train Spotting is. And finally, Fantastic Four and where to find them.
Yeah, that is the question right there. Where do we find them? And he had several of them in there. I just picked out some of my favorites. Another one from also a Twitter user. This is @JerseyWhisperer, Nick. He responded with Of Mice and Metal Men.
You could also do Kitty Pride and Prejudice.
That's a good one.
There you go. Boom.
Another one on the fly.
That's all I got. I'm done. I checked out. And this has been the podcast. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for responding to our hashtag games. Always love reading through those. And again, @ReasonsI'mBroke, @PalpaKelly on Twitter, or Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke. Participate, and we may feature your response on the next episode.
And with that, we can move into our news for the week.
The greatest of Star Trek movies, Kelly. Through select theaters and Fathom events, Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan will return for its 35th anniversary.
Oof, 35. Are we that old? We are not.
Well, I wasn't around then.
I feel like this movie is part of my childhood because my parents used to watch Star Trek. So it makes me feel old.
And in the last 35 years, they have not been able to top Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan.
Nope. And I don't know that they ever will. So the movie will screen Sunday, September 10th and Wednesday, September 13th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. local time each day.
They even tried to bring back Khan in the previous, not the last Star Trek, but it was Star Trek 2, Into Darkness, I think it was.
Yes.
And even then, they tried to use the character that was featured in Wrath of Khan, because people love that character. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work, even though it was Benedict Cumberbatch, who everyone enjoys and likes. He didn't have the charm of Ricardo Montalban, you know?
Because he wasn't an old man with that very low-cut shirt and that little chest hair coming out.
Low-cut shirt and well-cut chest.
Yes.
Like, he was, holy shit, he was cut. Like, goddamn. The press release reads, quote, Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan will be presented in a digitally remastered director's cut, and as an added bonus for Star Trek and movie fans, William Shatner will appear in a newly produced in-depth interview that will play before each screening, end quote.
Cool.
You gotta have Shatner in there.
Of course you do. And he's got to be over dramatic too. Like, and when we were working on this movie, I did these things. Like, we don't want to hear about you, Shatner. We want to hear about Khan.
He wants to hear about him.
Of course he does.
Speaking of American Psycho, Captain American Psycho, I just learned the other night that he was in American Psycho 2. Like, he plays the teacher that Mila Kunis...
William Shatner?
Yes. He plays the teacher that Mila Kunis falls for and is trying to seduce. And I'm watching some of the highlights on YouTube. I'm like, holy fuck, this is terrible. Like, I know American Psycho 2 is already an awful movie, but his acting is, God, it's fucking atrocious.
I mean, his acting's always been atrocious, but who would fall for him? I would never in a million years.
It made it funnier, though.
Especially Mila Kunis? No.
His acting wasn't always bad. He was amazing in Star Trek. I've gone back and watched the original series.
He was himself in Star Trek.
He was good. Watch those. Like, as he got older, he got more animated and he kind of overdid it a little bit. But you watch those old episodes, and he's just as, normal as the rest of the cast members.
Until he's an asshole saying, I have to have the first interracial kiss.
That's true. Like, it was supposed to be Spock, and then Shatner's like, I'm going to be in there. I'm the star. And you can kind of see, too, where it's like, okay, he's really chewing up the scene, and eventually, you kind of see that the popularity affected it. But you know what? If he is how he is now, and we get Star Trek in return forever, like, great. We got Star Trek 2. We got the original series. We win. Either way.
So The Wrath of Khan is a continuation of the Star Trek episode Space Seed, also starring Ricardo Montalban as Khan Noonien Singh.
A quote here from Tom Lucas, Fathom Events VP of Studio Relations, who said, quote, Star Trek II holds a special place in the hearts of Star Trek fans. Fathom is proud to work with Paramount Pictures to present it again on the big screen with all of its excitement, action, drama, and emotion, end quote.
Can I tell you how much I love Fathom Events? And they're making bank.
They're kicking ass,
yeah,
man.
They are. Let's put up this special thing. Oh, we sold out all our theaters? Okay. Didn't cost us shit.
Put up the next DC cartoon. Give us some more Studio Ghibli. We'll do it again next year.
Studio Googly, whatever.
Googly, man. I don't care.
Let's put an opera. People still watch that shit. Like,
they put those up all the fucking time.
Yeah, they do.
They've got to make money on those too. Like, I want to.
And maybe they don't. Maybe they just make money off the rest of the stuff. And the president loves the opera, and they're like, put the opera.
I've always wanted to buy a ticket to the opera ones because I want to just see. Is there anyone in here? Like, walk in,
Well, what you need to do is walk up to the box office and just ask, how sold out is the opera? And when they're like, oh, it's 0%, you can just be like, I want to go to a different movie anyway.
So staying on the Star Trek news, Kelly. While at a Star Trek... Actually, are we going to watch Wrath of Khan 2 on the big screen?
If we have time.
Sunday and Wednesday. Yeah, it's a toss-up. Who knows?
No.
It was on Netflix not too long ago either. We used to play it all the time at the store, and then you'd look up in the loud moment, and of course it was the giant musical score, but then the infamous Khan!
Yep.
That would pop up. Oh, shit, there's Shatner right there.
Overacting again. But we love it.
So as I was saying, continuing on the Star Trek news... While at a Star Trek convention 2 weeks ago, Dredd star Carl Urban was asked if he was going to be involved in the Judge Dredd Mega City 1 television show.
We have a quote from him here. Quote, I am in discussions with them about that. I told them that if they write the material and give Dredd something to do and give him a function, I will be there. I would love to. End quote.
And you just saw Dredd about a week or two ago?
And I really enjoyed it. First, I was skeptical because you told me there wasn't a love story. And I'm all about movies with love stories. And I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this. But it was really good, despite there not being a love story.
You got the palp approval.
Yes, it did.
What'd you enjoy about
approved. I don't know. It was cool because he's like, I'm Dread. I don't give no fucks. Boom, 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 boom.
He gives a fuck about the law.
I'm going to take you out, Ma.
Mama was cool. She was a cool villain.
Yeah, she was. With her big old scar, biting off guys' dicks. Yeah.
The special effects, whenever they were on the... they had a name for that high to slow-mo. And then you see, like, when she was high, she was moving the water around and just splashing. But when she sees it, it's going in like 1/100th of time.
So you can see sparkly.
You can see everything in slow motion, but your brain is going so fast that you can still process it. So one of the ways in which they murder the cops is they gave them a thing of blow. They skinned them, and then they threw them over the side. And so they were skinned and going down, like, how many, 80 stories in the building?
There are 200 stories.
200 stories in slow motion all the way till they got to the bottom. So that is an eternity if you've taken a bit of this. So it was like... It can be used against, to torture people, and it could be, to see beautiful things like fucking glass shattering and you falling through it. And the way that they presented it in the movie through the directing was absolutely incredible. There's so many special things about that movie that work, the action sequences. Karl Urban never takes off the fucking helmet. In Dread, like, he has the helmet as he should.
I really wanted to see a cameo with Sylvester Stallone, though, walking in, it's the law.
Just as maybe one of the Dread, the officers or whatever, one of the men.
Like one of the ones who's outside the place, like, we gotta get in there, it's the law.
That would have been really cool. So going back to the Mega City 1 project, it's great that he is down for it. He really wants to do Mega City 1, the television show. That's good news for us because he was an amazing Dread. No network has been announced for Mega City 1, but the producers from 2012's Dread reboot are behind the wheel. So if anything, Karl Urban's in, the producers are in. Now it's just a matter of money, and it's a matter of which network are they going to be on.
Right.
And by the time they start shooting, what's Karl going to be doing? So there's a lot of ifs and a lot of things happening.
Sci-Fi just needs to pick them up. They got everything else.
They really should. I'd watch it on anything. Like, if you get Karl Urban back on a Dread TV show, even if they don't, I'll definitely watch the first couple of episodes. I saw Dread in theaters and I really enjoyed it. Just gave it a shot with Swordfish Show, actually. Purple Swordfish. So it's something that I'm definitely invested in and can really see the potential of continuing the Dread universe.
One universe that is ending, though, is breaking up, departing from our beloved Netflix, and that is Disney. As we mentioned in the beginning. So Disney has acquired a majority stake of the streaming video service BAMTech to launch an ESPN app in 2018 and Disney streaming in 2019.
So because of this, Kelli, Disney will not be renewing their deal with Netflix in 2019. This is for the feature films. This is for the animated films. And now in question is, what about the Netflix Marvel original TV shows? Are those now going to be moved over to the Disney streaming service? Or would they continue their deal with Netflix for just the Marvel television shows?
Only time will tell. They got a lot of shit up on Netflix, though. I Netflixed Disney just to see what they had up there. They have Disney Channel original movies. I can go back to my childhood. I could watch Cadet Kelly. That was one of my favorite movies. You have all the Mulans, all the Cinderellas, all that stuff is up there. I was like, well, damn, I've been missing out.
Yeah, they were mentioning that stuff like Toy Story 4 onward is not going to be available on Netflix. Like, that'll be after the deal is over and after the contract has not been renewed. And that's when you'll get it on the Disney app. The service will also feature original and proprietary content developed especially for Disney streaming.
Another company that we've seen do this recently is Warner Brothers. In 2018, they will be launching their own service through DC-branded shows like Young Justice, Outsiders, and Titans. So it just seems like everybody's going the way of the streaming service.
I'm still not a fan of this. Like, I don't like that every company now says, we don't need Hulu. Why don't we just do it ourselves and charge ourselves? But this is something that people, like in our generation, and even older or younger, they don't want to have a separate account for every single company or every single channel. This is why cable ended up going, aside from the prices, like cable got extremely unpopular with millennials and so on, because you had stuff like Netflix or Hulu, which are not, you're paying a fraction of what would be cable. You don't have as much expendable income. So it's like, yeah, I'll get Netflix and I'll get these television shows and stream, and oh my God, things are getting better. Yeah, price is going up, and now I have original content like the Marvel television shows, or on Hulu with your Mindy project.
Mindy show.
And instead, it's like, okay, well, if these companies are pulling out, and this is why Netflix is investing heavy on its original stuff like House of Cards, is because they know they have to have something to fall back on. They have to offer consumers other content that they are losing through these companies like Warner Brothers and Disney. And as soon as the contract ends with WB also, we've seen, Young Justice 1 and 2, like they came back, but those are going to go away. And Justice League and Justice League Unlimited are no longer on Netflix. So that's another project or another streaming that is now going to be available only on the Warner Brothers app. So it's like, unless these companies make these extremely affordable, and I don't think they have Disney has the balls to charge as much, if not more, than Netflix. They definitely do. I don't think they should. They should offer maybe half of what you're paying on Netflix, because you don't have the amount of content that Netflix does have. But at the same time, they're fucking Disney. They have Disney movies. How many people will pay, $10, $20 a month to have all of the Disney content available right there for streaming?
I will say, and normally under normal circumstances, I'd be like, okay, Disney, like, go ahead and take your streaming service, whatever. But now that we're having a kid, to be able to have, because Disney doesn't have any inappropriate movies.
Right.
Whereas Netflix, your child could easily stumble upon something. And there's a lot of bullshit on Netflix. A lot of bullshit kids movies. Wanna Breed DreamWorks. I was babysitting a kid the other day. I had to watch fucking Snakes twice. It's called Sahara or some bullshit. Some weird plot hole filled snake movie. And at the end of it, they even call out the plot holes. They're like, I bet you're wondering about this. And then, like, the credits rolled. And I was like, God damn it. And I had to watch that twice. I don't want Leo getting into that. So, so I would consider both WB, if they get all the cartoons, and Disney, depending on the prices, just so that I can plug that in and be like, here, kid, watch a Disney movie.
Well, let's talk about WB. What is your price to have a streaming service from Warner Brothers where you have all of the DC animated movies, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, the whole Timverse, plus Titans and Young Justice Outsiders? What do you pay a month?
All the monies.
Give me a number. What do you actually pay a month?
I think they could charge $15 a month for that.
15 a month?
I would pay $15 a month for that. Because you got to think about it. I could plug Leo into that, and I know he's watching good quality Batman shows.
You know what? That's true. That is true. My limit, I think, is 10. I don't know if I can pay more than $10, simply because I'm so limited in that content. Again, same issue that Disney's going to run into. And now Warner Brothers wants to put in the whole catalog of Warner Brothers movies. I'm fucking in. Yeah, I'll pay $15. I don't want just the animated, but I'll take the regular WB stuff, because they have got shit ton of movies. But if they just do DC, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can pay more than $10 for that stuff.
Even 10 is worth it. Again, like I said, to be able to plug Leo in, we have all Batman the Animated Series. We do have that on, DVD. But to pull it out and put it in, and that's a lot of work when I can hit the play button and it's just going to keep playing multiple episodes, and then I can get things done. And he's discovering Batman the Animated Series for the first time, or Justice League, or whatever else.
Pressing play is a lot of work, or, putting in the DVD is a lot of work, is what you just said. When I was a kid, my mom showed me how to rewind the tape and how to play it by myself. And I was a smart kid. She probably only showed me once, and I probably got it. I'm just going to assume that that's what happened. Because and that's what we had to do. And that's what I had to do. Like, okay, I finished the movie. And she said I would rewind it by myself, play it again, and watch it all over again. So it's like, just train your fucking kid to put in the goddamn DVD.
You want Leo touching your Batman the Animated Series DVDs?
You know what? We should get the streaming service, Kelli. And, if they put Batman the Animated Series on there, that'd be great.
Okay, really? Yeah? Is that you're finally catching up to my thinking? Thanks. I'm glad. See, our parents didn't have better, so we had to touch their beloved VHSs, but we don't have to let our children touch our things now.
So more streaming stuff with Disney, Warner Brothers. But as I mentioned before, Netflix is not asleep at the wheel.
Netflix has acquired comic book writer Mark Millar's creator-owned company, Millarworld. Why would he name it Millarworld?
I don't know. It's not the best name ever. But you've seen that name on comics. Like, you'll see it on Reborn. You'll see it on a lot of his original books. And it'll say Millarworld, and then you'll have Image Comics or, Marvel, Icon, or Avatar.
I have not seen Millarworld on anything, and I think Millarworld is a terrible name. Mark Millar, really.
It's fine. I don't care what he calls it. It's not the greatest, but he's given us cool comics, I guess. And the logo's not great too, but it's fine. He's doing well for himself. He's doing fine.
I feel like somebody told him, you got to come up with a name, and he's like, Millarworld, whatever.
This deal will allow Netflix to produce films, shows, and kids series based on Millar's various properties.
We have a quote here from Netflix CCO Ted Sarandos, who says, quote, "As creator and reinventor of some of the most memorable stories and characters in recent history, ranging from Marvel's The Avengers to Millarworld's Kick-Ass, Kingsman, Wanted, and Reborn franchises, Mark is as close as you can get to a modern-day Stan Lee. We can't wait to harness the creative power of Millarworld to Netflix and start a new era in global storytelling." End quote.
Not a modern-day Stan Lee. He's not. I like Mark Millar just fine, but he is not a modern-day Stan Lee. But you know what? You got to sell it. It's a public release. You've got to sell it. And I don't blame them for it. Reborn, though, Kelly. We read in the last issue of Reborn. Mm-hmm. Very good series.
It was great.
A lot of great stuff in it. The ending, as I mentioned before, a little bit lackluster on the review, but it's still a great story. Mm-hmm. And I think I would recommend the trade paperback when that does eventually release, which should be soon. Might even be out by now. But the fact that we're getting that in television format, it's going to be on Netflix. And they're going to make, other properties, like maybe we'll have another spin-off Kick-Ass or a remake of it as a television format. Netflix has options, and comics are hot right now. Everyone wants their books made into movies or television shows. Mark Millar has been pushing that for years. Mm-hmm. Everything he makes recently, he's been like, I want this to be a property in the future. I want this to be a movie. I want this to be a television show. For Reborn, he's like, I've got ideas I just finished book 1, the first 6 issues or whatever. I have ideas for book 5. Like, that's how far ahead I've planned Reborn to go. And that's because he says, I want this to be bigger than the comic book or the graphic novel. And there's nothing wrong with just leaving it as a book because you can sell it forever. But he's thinking bigger. He wants everything to be adapted and made into something and adapted into a different medium. And why not? This is the time to strike when comics are hot and all these studios are looking for that next big $1 million thing.
I think Reborn would translate so well into a TV show too, because you could easily make a whole season off of this first 6-issue arc. Mm-hmm. Easy. And then, like you said, he's got up to 5. There's 5 seasons. Done.
The only thing I would be concerned about with Reborn is the special effects with the budget. And there are some things in the show that it's like, okay, you've got this giant dog, And
I was thinking animated.
That wouldn't be bad either. That's also expensive, though.
Well, yeah, but you do like Voltron style. When are we getting Voltron? By the way,
we got it. It's pretty much here now. Yeah, 7 episodes, and these last weeks have flown. So I have no idea.
But you didn't. We sat down for TV the other night. For like our 1 hour we had. And I said, what TV do we have? And you said, we have no TV.
It wasn't
Let's
up then.
watch a movie. I think you're lying to me.
I'm not. We can check it tonight. We'll check right now before we go to sleep.
All right. No, I don't. I got to go to sleep. I work early tomorrow. I don't have time for Voltron tonight.
So moving along here to DC's side of television, IGN has reported that Legends of Tomorrow's showrunners have been, quote, actively campaigning to get Matt Ryan as Constantine worked into the rotation of heroes and villains.
Well, yeah, who else would you ask for?
They've hinted at this since season 1. When season 1 was still airing, they said we want Constantine for season 2.
1. From the very beginning, they were like, oh, yep, we're Constantine.
I don't know what the snag is. I don't know if it's been that Matt Ryan's been busy or I have no idea. But the fact that they're now actively again saying we want Constantine to be a part of the team, then the plan was to always have like a rotating set of characters. Like, yeah, you'd have some that were always in every single season, probably the most popular ones. but that every now and again you'd have, okay, now we've got Constantine here, and maybe the Atom's going to take a seat or whoever. And the fact that Constantine is already established in the Arrowverse, and which now makes it a part of Legends of Tomorrow and the Flash and everything. The last time he showed up was in that cameo episode that you and I were fast forwarding through just to watch the Constantine parts. And it's like, okay, well, where is he now? Why aren't we seeing him?
We need a season 2 of Constantine. That's what we need to see.
I'll take what I can get at this point, but the CW previously announced plans to have Matt Ryan reprise his role through an animated Constantine CW Seed series, which we reported on about 5 months ago.
Can it be season 2 of Constantine show? Because I got to find out what happened.
It's got to be somewhat of a season 2, right?
He was dying in the sewer, spoilers.
And they showed off how did it end with like his brother being the evil one?
Somebody had wings.
Yeah.
That guy from Lucifer was in there.
That was the same guy.
I would love to see Constantine and Lucifer in the same show, though.
Yes, me too.
Can we have that crossover?
Needs to happen. Anything Constantine.
That would make me very, very, very happy. Like, what would he do? Would he be trying to, like, exorcise the devil?
It would make me confused because in Lucifer, there are billboards for Supergirl, the TV show. So in his universe, these are television shows.
Ah, but it would just be so cool if they met up, like my 2 favorite British supernatural guys. When are we getting more Lucifer back too? I need some of that show.
You'll get plenty of Lucifer, trust me. They love that show over at Fox.
Is it while I'm on my maternity leave? Because
that
would be perfect, right? Because then I could just watch Lucifer. Did those moms get over Olive Garden and Lucifer? I love Olive Garden too, by the way.
Oh, they're back in Olive Garden, I'm sure. That whole 1 million moms debacle about, oh, you're advertising they're Lucifer, the devil, and blah, blah. It's like, yeah, we'll see you in Olive Garden in 3 months. Thank you. You're not.
The devil's in your fettuccine Alfredo.
If I were Olive Garden, I would have come up with, I'm like, hey, do you guys want to Lucifer, I don't know who the company that runs Lucifer that produces it. They'd be like, hey, do you guys want to team up on like a promotion? Like, I know we were advertising during your show, but maybe we should come up with some themed dishes and themed pasta things, make them like hell inspired and just to really mess with people.
You can't change Olive Garden's menu. People would lose their minds. We all go there for one thing, and that is fettuccine Alfredo.
For a limited time, these special dishes. And then the 1 million moms can get even more upset. And ironically enough, there's not even 1 million members in 1 million moms, but
Isn't there like 1,000 moms there or something?
Something like that, but more exposure, right?
You know what 1 million moms are really doing? Watching Lucifer, because that's how many moms are watching Lucifer, and those 1,001 million moms are not watching Lucifer. Still sticking with DC, but flipping on over to the comic book side, Harley Quinn's current backup comic book stories, as written by Paul Dini and Jimmy Palmiotti, will be coming to a conclusion with a one-shot story titled Harley Loves Joker #1.
This is how you make money, folks. Mm-hmm. This is it, because I'm sure that's going to be an oversized one-shot.
Yep.
Throw $4.99 on it.
Yep.
Give us extra pages. Yep. And it's a story by fucking Paul Dini. And it's in Harley Quinn.
Give us a variant Bruce Timm cover and throw some more money on that.
Please do that.
Yep.
Yes.
Give us a variant Paul Dini cover.
I'll take that too. Like he draws. He just doesn't draw often. No release date has been given for Harley Loves Joker #1, but Paul Palmiotti has said that it will be sometime this fall. So probably in the next previews catalog.
And we're going to eat it up and we'll be all over that.
Oh, I can't wait. And they have said before, Paul and Jimmy, that they don't know if they're going to continue this format of the backup stories for the Harley Quinn ongoing, or if they're going to try to make it something else. And, I'll take whatever it is. Like, we'll keep reading the backups because we're still reading Harley Quinn. But Paul Dini, if you want to make a whole other standalone Harley Quinn series, by all means, have that Harley Quinn series. And Jimmy Palmiotti, if this is maybe too much and you're too busy, just focus on the solo Harley Quinn and, let Paul have this other book. And then we can just have the best of both worlds, a more modern spin on Harley Quinn and then Paul Dini's classic take on the character. I mean, he's one of the co-creators. Mm-hmm. That's as pure as Harley as you can get. Just
more reasons we're going to be broke.
Of course.
Diapers and Harley Quinn.
And that's the name of the episode right there. Diapers and Harley Quinn.
I'm so good at coming up with names. Oh, speaking of me coming up with things, this is a rabbit trail.
Go on them because we don't have a lot of news stories. This is it.
Gotta eat up some time. So going down my rabbit trail because I was thinking me coming up with names and I thought about me being Kelli and Darth Vader Daniel and da-da-da. So there's a video floating around Facebook where they dubbed over Darth Vader with Gordon Ramsay's voice.
Oh my God. Why haven't you shown me this? This is incredible.
I found it today, and then I didn't think about it until right now. But it's great because he's like walking in and there's dead people everywhere, and he's like, the fuck is all this? Look at this shit just lying around. It's so great.
Oh my God, I've got to watch this. This is amazing.
So wonderful.
Speaking of Gordon Ramsay, they showcased the first Deadpool 2 Cable image. And you mentioned, like, that looks like Gordon Ramsay.
Looks exactly like Gordon Ramsay.
Well, you should fucking tweet that. And you did. Like, you quoted it and put out the image. And you said, is that Gordon Ramsay? You know, I laughed at it. You know, I put up a GIF. And then I'm like, oh, I wonder who else has been commenting on the original image that Ryan Reynolds put up. And, like, one of the top comments, 300 plus retweets, like an hour or so before you put up yours, it was, is that Gordon Ramsay? I'm like, God damn it, man. Like, it's whatever funny thing you come up with on your own, someone else has already done it. But, you know, Brookettes can know that Papa Kelli was there too. She came up with it, and I didn't even realize it either until I looked at it. I'm like, that's fucking Ramsay. You're right.
It does. It looks exactly like a badass Gordon Ramsay. Like he's going to bust in there with his big old gun and be like, your food is rubbish.
It's raw. What'd you think of do you care about Cable? Like this, I didn't include it in the show notes.
I don't even know who Cable is.
He's one of Liefeld's creations,
okay.
also.
Oh, then no, I don't care about Cable.
Showed up in New Mutants.
I care about Chef Ramsay playing Cable because I would go see him.
I know this is not people like to like, oh, that's what he's gonna look like. This is clearly like a rendered image. I don't know why people thought it was like a non-set photo, but it's clearly heavy on Photoshop. But it's cool that I thought it was concept art at first. But, you know, when I saw that it was actually, you know, tweeted out, I'm like, okay, so he's going to look something like that in the movie itself. And that's great to see, you know, as someone who's seen Cable so many times on comics, and for all the Cable fans out there, I mean, he's got the pouches, he's got the fucking eyes, he's got the metal arm. That's as close as you fucking get to the comic book Cable. Like, his hair isn't completely silver, but it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly like it. And in this case, they really honored the character, and I think a lot of the fans are definitely satisfied. I don't plan on seeing Deadpool 2. Deadpool 1 wasn't for me. I'm not really a Deadpool fan, so, you know, I'm going to pass on it. And as we said in the review, we're glad people enjoyed it, and that's fine. They have Cable there. He looks great. Domino looks awesome. But it's just, you know, another news story that it's like, okay, well, you know, we're not going to see it. It's out there. But, you know, there you go. That's kind of our take on it. Let us know how Cable is. How about that?
Let us know how Chef Ramsay is. If they actually got Chef Ramsay to play him, I would go see him.
Oh, they won. Absolutely.
You know what other movie I would see, though? And this was, again, brought to me because of Facebook. I just spend my days scrolling through Facebook.
Apparently, videos. Scrolling your life away.
So, you know about carpool karaoke, right?
Is that where they take, like, the app and they kind of record themselves singing the song? Or what? No, okay.
It was on James Corbin's talk show where he would get celebrities in the car with him and they would sing karaoke together.
Okay.
So now it has its own TV show, and I was watching the preview for that.
Sure.
Okay. So its own TV show has, the first episode is Will Smith, so they gave us 6 minutes of Will Smith just being awesome. And he has apparently approached Barack Obama and asked if he could portray him in a movie. And Obama has said, well, you have the ears for it. And then James Corbin responded with, there has to be a scene in the movie where they're in, like, the briefing room, the war room, whatever it's called, and somebody comes in and tells them something, and Will Smith, as Barack Obama, has to go, oh, hell no.
I think you were going to say, can Barack Obama make a cameo, but he's playing Will Smith in the movie?
Oh, my God. That'd be the best. Barack Obama can come up to Will Smith playing Barack Obama and ask if he can play Barack Obama.
Oh, my God. My mind is blown.
I would also see Will Smith as Barack Obama in a movie. I think that'd be great.
It's, sure, why not? It would make money. People will see it. I don't know if I would.
You want to go see Will Smith playing Barack Obama going, oh, hell no. Blowing up some aliens.
It's Independence Day now?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Get Jeff Goldblum in this bitch, too. He can be Biden.
Yes. Oh, my God. And I want Will Smith's wife to play Michelle, but she has to play her as Fish Mooney.
There you go. That's another one right there.
Perfect. Done. We've just cast this whole movie. Write the script and make it happen.
And Jaden Smith can be one of the daughters.
Yes.
You know, put a wig on him.
He's already got his little dreads, so.
Oh, perfect.
And they have a daughter too, so she can play the other daughter.
Great ideas. Excellent ideas.
Good job.
Well
Facebook.
done. But with that, we can jump into our Patreon shoutouts of the week.
This week, our shoutouts go out to Bobby, who is at Cuban Slim, and Neil, who is at Inmats68.
Both on Twitter, of course. Bobby recently added to his amiibo collection with the Pikmin amiibo. I don't know if you've seen those, but they're all carrying a giant stone. It looks incredible. It completely went over my head. I've been, again, real busy, but next time I get a chance, I have to go and get that Pikmin amiibo. It looks incredible. And of course the Metroid one, which he's very good about giving me a heads up on, hey, pre-orders are up on the Metroid. Hey, amiibo. He's the amiibo hunter. Like, this is the guy. So you've seen it on Twitter. If you ever seen hashtag amiibo hunter, that's Bobby. So huge thanks for your Patreon support. And also Neil, who recently tweeted that he is going to get a copy of Croak #2 from his nearest comic book shop.
He's also been participating in the Starbucks Summer Game. Do you know what that is?
Is that like a frequent buyer type of event, or?
If it's similar to past years, then yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to assume it's similar to past years because they do this every year. But you go, and for everything you purchase, you get a little game piece, and then you put your game piece online, and then you get like another piece. And they're like, oh, get all these pieces, and you get Starbucks for a year.
So it's like the Monopoly game from McDonald's?
Essentially, but you never win, and you just spend all your money on Starbucks.
Yeah, that's the game.
But we're spending all our money on Starbucks anyway.
So we're on the same page then.
Well,
you, me, and Neil. Just giving money to Starbucks.
You and Neil.
You don't participate in the Starbucks summer game?
Not this year. I have not drank coffee in 6 months.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
You
Completely
keep forgetting.
Right, yeah.
You keep forgetting that your son hates coffee.
My image of you, coffee is so big in your life that I in all these months, I'm like, that's right. She doesn't fucking drink coffee anymore. And
I know every time we go to Starbucks, you're like, you want some coffee? I'm like,
yeah.
No, I can't drink it. No,
that's how many years you've had like a coffee cup in your hand.
I love coffee, and I can still say I love coffee. I can't drink it right now because it makes me physically ill. But I love coffee. For me, it's a relaxing thing. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. It's my thing. I've been drinking coffee since I was like 9.
Yeah, me too, at a young age. I guess our parents didn't care.
I remember the first time I drank coffee, I was at a doctor's office and they had free coffee and Mom got herself some and I was like, can I try it? And she said, sure. And I loved it. And that
been addicted ever since.
Yeah, I used to, when I was old enough to go to the mall by myself, I was 14 or something. So my parents would drop me off at the mall with my friend and we would go to Starbucks and I would get a coffee. And then you walk around the mall with your coffee. That's what you did. So I have been addicted for almost half my life now. I've been drinking coffee almost every day. And your body does weird things when you get pregnant because it knows what it needs and what it should avoid. Mm-hmm. And I woke up one morning and I could not stand the smell. I could not stand the taste. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. And even now, it's just not. I can drink it without throwing up, but it's not comfortable. It's not fun.
Your breakup with coffee, there hasn't been a bigger breakup since Disney and Netflix.
I think me and coffee are the biggest breakup of the century. So I'm just hoping that as soon as I pop out this kid, my body will be like, coffee time! And I'll be like, Rawr!
Or it could be that for the rest of your life, your body's like...
No.
It could happen.
No, don't even think about those things. Don't even...
There's a chance.
Voice them. Do you like sleeping outside? Don't even voice it.
These rabbit trails, Kelly, all for the Patreon backers and for all the listeners out there. So once again, huge thanks to Bobby and Neil on Twitter at Cuban Slim and at NMAT68 for your Patreon support. If you too would like your Patreon shout out and to contribute in these rabbit trails that we go down on, for as little as $1 a month, that equals out to 25 cents an episode. You too can get your shout out every single month. There are different tiers to it. If you want to get some decals, there's a $5 reward tier. If you want to have your own personalized shout out, as in you record your own greeting or your own, event, whatever you want to promote, like a charity or something, there's a tier for that. And that's all at patreon.com/thereasonsimebroke. There's also a link in the show notes.
But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do for us is reach out to us on Twitter, talk to us, participate in our hashtag games, ask us questions that we can answer. You can also leave us reviews on iTunes or wherever you choose to listen to us, any of your podcatchers, and that will help other people find us as well.
Another huge thanks to decalavenue.com for helping us out with the decals. And of course, our Patreon goals include, a monthly t-shirt giveaway. And eventually, like several goals down, is to, give away more trade paperbacks, more comics, even statues. That's far off. Hopefully we'll one day get there, but it's all to benefit the listeners and to do more giveaways for the podcast. We always, we love doing them. We like the excitement, and we like to kind of reward the Patreon brokettes or the people that interact with us on Twitter or Facebook. And we'll do those more often as we hit more goals. But for now, it's great that we can, put up our cost for the podcast, for hosting the show. And that all helps with the Patreon backers that help us out every single month. So huge thanks to all of you. And of course, huge thanks to our listeners. As you mentioned before, if you can't support the podcast through Patreon, listening and downloading and spreading the word, huge help to Kelli and I.
And we're about to spend a lot of money on a baby. I'm just throwing it out there.
So as we mentioned near the beginning of the show, we don't have a comic book highlight this week. So we did put out a call to the Broquette Core to give us some questions that we can answer right here on the podcast and on the show. And of course, they responded because we do have the best listeners in the world.
Our first question comes from Nick, who is at Jersey Whisperer, who says, let's say Jeff Johns is like, Daniel, Palpa Kelly, you're in charge of our project. Which character, story, and a fan cast?
Would you like to go first, Kelli, or should I go with my dream, live action DC movie that I'd want to see?
You can go with your dream. Go ahead.
I will tell you ahead of time that, Nick and all listeners, I'm not a cast. I don't do the casting thing. Like, I'm not a casting director. Anything that I would come up with would be terrible. Like, it would not be a good choice then, because I'd be like, oh, Darren Aronofsky can direct, and my budget would be out the fucking roof. Like it's an unmakeable movie if I start casting this fucking thing. But I will say that if Jeff Johns said, hey, let's do a live action movie, and I'm like, Jeff, if you're going to play around with Flashpoint, you're going to have alternate realities. And yeah, I know that Flashpoint tied into the main movies and tied into the stories, and now, in television, and overall it's a part of the continuity of DC Comics. I would go let's do a Superman Red Son live action movie.
Cool.
I want to see that fucking story. And if you have to tie in Flashpoint in some way, like, okay, this is all still an offshoot, make it happen. Or if you just want to make it a standalone Red Son movie, that's great too. It's just, I can't get enough of that story. And it's a crime that they haven't done an animated adaptation of it yet. So until then, like, make a live action one, make an animated one. I'll take what I can get. The other thing is the Sinestro Corps. Mm-hmm. Make me the Sinestro Corps movie, the war. And this is when Sinestro is helping the Green Lanterns by the end of the thing. Like, you read the book, you read the arc, and he's like, this isn't for me. This isn't because I wanted to, rule the universe with these members. This is all to improve the Corps. You can now murder. I have effectively improved the Green Lanterns because I am a Green Lantern. And I don't care that I'm, a Yellow Lantern right now. This is all for the greater good. And it's just like, holy fuck, like, the Green Lantern's still lost. It doesn't matter that Sinestro got captured or beat up by Hal Jordan, and the rest of the members are also, getting wiped out. He's like, this is what you needed. You needed to rule with the fear of death to anyone that opposes the Green Lanterns. And now that's an initiative. You can kill with your rings. That's because of me. Throw me in jail and properly police the universe. And it's like, man, give me that on a fucking big screen. I want to see that story too.
Who would you have play Sinestro?
Mark Strong. Bring him back.
All right. He did a good job. This big old forehead.
Shrink the forehead down. Make it like the comics. Like
make him more handsome.
I know he's got the big forehead in the classic appearances, but since then he's gotten like you mentioned, more better looking. It's oddly, as you make your characters more heroic, the artists are going to inevitably make them better looking. It just happens. It's a weird.
I mean, it does. Zuko got better looking throughout the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's another one, sure.
You're like, Kelly, he was 14. That's weird. What are you talking about?
Like, if there were a guy talking about a 14-year-old girl saying, oh, yeah, she got it. Like, it's different, right? Because it's...
Yes, it is different.
That's so bizarre. Like, when you watch the Harry Potter premieres or the Twilight, they were underage, right?
Twilight? I think the actors themselves were like 18, but in the TV show or the books they were 17 or something.
I could have sworn like at least one of the actors or something were under 18, and then maybe. You see like the moms at the premieres. It's like they're 16, guys.
Yeah.
Like imagine the flip flop if like guys were going crazy over Hermione back when Harry Potter was premiering. It'd be a very different picture and news story.
Well, that's weird. That's weird. But part of me being able to say this about Zuko is you got to realize when I first watched him, I was the same age. So I actually saw something on Tumblr and it made me laugh. Somebody posted this huge post about like Zuko and all his smiles and like how cool he is. And at the very end, she gets down to the bottom and she goes, I just realized I might have been his same age when I started crushing on him, but I'm like 24 now and this is weird.
Good for her.
It's like, at least he recognized it.
I do have another one for Mr. Johns, though. I've got your trilogy right here. Mm-hmm. Court of Owls, movie 1. Death of the Family is movie 2. And Endgame is movie 3. Oh. There's your goddamn Batman trilogy. Just fucking do that. And it's already a perfect wrap-up of 3 stories. The Court of Owls is excellent. Joker mocking Batman over the owls is another thing. And then Endgame, of course, the revenge of Joker to Batman's betrayal of, no, I don't need you. You're not, this isn't I need my family, and this is what makes me strong. You don't make me strong. And we
already saw that in the Lego Batman movie.
We didn't see it in the regular Batman movie, though. And it happened in the comics. Do it again. Do it forever. Reinvent the story. That message is going to be a forever Batman Joker thing. But give it to me as Endgame, and that's another thing that I would pitch to Jeff Johns.
I really want to see, and I know that I would make bank on this, Mad Love.
So a full spin-off movie on that brief scene that we saw in Suicide Squad. And I guess it would be a prequel, or would you frame it as a flashback movie?
I would probably make it a prequel. Just tell their whole story. Because that's what you hear people all the time. Now I want a Harley Quinn and Joker movie. I'm like, oh, you do? Well, let me show you how abusive their relationship is.
So Mad Love as a live-action movie, the best Harley Quinn story thus far.
Only I would recast Joker as Mark Hamill. Old man Mark Hamill. And Batman would be played by Kevin Conroy.
So you want a Batman the Animated Series live action is what you want.
Yes. I'm letting Margot Robbie stay as Harley Quinn.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yes.
Arlene Sorkin, though, is free, by the way.
I love Arlene Sorkin. I do. But Margot proved herself to me, so she can stay as Harley. But
so you say no to Jared Leto, hasn't proven himself as a Joker. No to Ben Affleck, hasn't proven himself as Batman.
Nope. But when Kevin Conroy plays Batman, okay, skinny ass Kevin Conroy still needs to be in a big Batman suit, so it hangs off him a little bit.
Like, people will laugh at that, but I'm like, I don't care, man. That is Batman to me. That's the voice I hear when I read comic books.
Eyes.
I don't have to close my eyes. I'm like, that's fucking Batman right there. Like, when I even look at Kevin Conroy, I'm like, you're Batman. I don't care that you're not muscly, like, the comic book of Batman. That is Batman right there. So put him up in a fucking suit, and it doesn't have to be muscly, just like Michael Keaton wasn't muscly, and I don't give a shit. He's more of a Batman than Michael Keaton. So as soon as he starts talking, I'm like, fucking done. He starts talking as Bruce or Batman.
Have you seen how skinny Kevin Conroy is?
Have you seen how skinny Michael Keaton was in that original Batman movie?
Kevin Conroy is skinnier.
Kevin Conroy's taller than Michael Keaton, so he's already like, okay, so there's more traits to Batman in that sense. Make him Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Leave them the actors they already have. I would just love to see a Mad Love movie because I think there's so much that you can embellish on it now. They could make it much darker because we saw darker tones of Harley and Joker ruling Gotham together from Suicide Squad. So there's a lot that they could do with it while still showing how fucked up their relationship is.
We even got some of Mad Love in Suicide Squad of Joker, churning the tables a little bit on Harleen Quinzel at that time. And they kind of, I don't want to say they rushed through it, but they touched on it enough. But to see an entire progress of, this is where Joker twisted her, and this is where he effectively made her insane too. Like, yeah, I know the vat of chemicals from Ace. It's like another thing that vastly contributed to Harley Quinn and the New 52 storyline. But in Mad Love, it's all mental. It's just him talking her through, and you see that amazing scene in which she's talking to the Joker, and suddenly she's in that, lay down, I don't know what you call those, but the psychology lay downs, and Joker's the one taking notes. So it's just like, holy fuck, he completely twisted Harleen Quinzel, and now this is not good.
Well, and then you have the ability where you could change the scenery or doing something, so you're following her progression into madness. It would just, I don't know, it'd be cool.
You can do a lot with it. Yeah, it's a good one. Is that your main one? Do you have any others that you would kind of want to see as...
Not that I can think up off the top of my head. That would be the main one.
Yeah, it was an excellent question, Nick. Again, at Jersey Whisper. I mean, a lot of great stuff you can do with the any adaptation. I mean, just take a comic book and adapt it. It doesn't have to be an original screenplay. Take some of the things, just like BVS. They took some things from the comic book with Dark Knight Returns. You got The Death of Superman in there. So there's so much from the comics that they pulled from that, you really don't need anything else. Just hire someone to adapt it and you're pretty much finished. So yeah, you ask us, we're going to go straight into the comics and pick out an arc from there. Another question here, Julian from the Lazy Gaming Guys on Twitter at Cage023 asked, which is the best animated Batman series after Batman the Animated Series?
Do you want to go first again?
I've only got one answer for this. It's going to be, are we counting like Gotham Girls as an animated series?
Whatever you want.
I'm going to say Gotham Girls is an animated series. Although it's not Batman, so never mind. It doesn't count. I'm going to go with Beware the Batman.
Okay.
It was, I enjoyed it more than The Batman, I think it was called. And I did like it more than the campier. It wasn't bad. I liked it too. The name escapes me right now, but it was the more like sort of Adam West-ish with animated series mixed into it. It was on Netflix not too long ago. I hate that I can't remember right now.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember it either.
It was excellent, but at this point, I would go with Beware the Batman. They had the Earth 1 Jim Gordon in there. His relationship with Bruce is taken straight from that original graphic novel.
Oh, his relationship.
And you also had the sidekick, which wasn't Robin. It wasn't Nightwing. It was Katana. And that was incredible. It's like, holy shit, we've never seen something quite like this. Like, yeah, you had Batman and the Outsiders, but in an animated series, it's Batman and Katana. And it's like, oh, is there gonna be a relationship here, or is there not? And
no, because she's fighting with her dead husband.
Well, we never got far enough anyway. It got canceled after a season, but near the end, they're like, yeah, and Ra's al Ghul is the fucking big bad in this. And you're like, fuck yes. Magpie was in there. She was reinvented. Anarchy was a big villain in there. They used a lot of villains that weren't as recognizable as what you would normally see in cartoons.
Well, they should have.
Yeah, and maybe it hurt them. I don't know, because it only lasted a season. If they had thrown in the Joker that early on, or the Riddler, maybe, would have had more legs to stand on. But instead, they did go with characters like, something Grant Morrison made up. And it's like, kids are going to be like, huh, who? So, Mr. Pig. And instead, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought it was great. It wasn't the animated series, but it's probably my next favorite Batman show after BTAS.
For me, it would be Justice League Unlimited. But Kelly, that's not a Batman show. That's a Batman show.
You're right. It is a Batman show. Pretty much. It's fucking Batman.
It's Batman telling the Justice League what to do.
Why'd you go with Unlimited over Justice League? Justice League has more Batman than Unlimited.
I felt like I liked the storylines in Unlimited better. Because Unlimited took place after the Thanagarian thing, right?
Correct. Yes.
And so then there was that conflict between Jon Stewart and Hawk Girl, and then they should have meant to be together, but he had to go be with Vixen just to spite her.
Couldn't trust her after everything that happened. And she pretty much took the place of Batman. We just talked about Tower of Babel. And that story, the Justice League, they debate over whether Batman should remain a member, which is the stupidest thing ever. Like, it's like, what are you guys fucking talking about? Like, I would bust in that meeting room. I'm like, are you guys really debating not having Batman be a member of the fucking Justice League? Are you insane? We came up with a plan, and he kind of betrayed. He didn't betray you,
brilliant.
idiots. It's like, why would he not have a fucking plan? This is why he's so good. This is why he's amazing in the Justice League, because he's like, oh yeah, we can defeat him with this. And you're mad because he came up with a plan against you? Fuck you, of course he had a fucking plan. Like, you don't know when you're gonna get mind controlled or whatever the fuck, or maybe you just decide you're gonna fuck the Justice League, I'm gonna rule. And who's gonna stop you? The goddamn Batman. That's what's gonna happen. Get the fuck back out there and solve some fucking crime and shit. Get fucking debating nonsense. And in Justice League Unlimited, it was the reverse. Like, it was Hawkgirl, and they were debating whether Hawkgirl should stay as a member of the Justice League, which was pretty awesome. So, yeah, I mean, it's sort of still a Batman show, right?
It's a Batman show. Do you not remember the last scene of the last episode when they're running, and then you zoom in on Batman?
Just talked about it last week.
Yep. They also had that great episode with Batman Beyond. Wasn't that from Unlimited also? Yeah, the final episode. Also last week we talked about the final episode of Timverse. Was that the one with Ace also? Ace the Bat Hound? No, not Ace the Bat Hound. Oh, that was Ace Unlimited. The Girl, that was Unlimited, see? And it was that exact episode, yeah. I'm going to cry. That was excellent. And it's like, yeah, we had Ace the Bat Hound in the comics, but in the animated series, it was all because of this story with Ace and the collection. This is why, like, he's still attached to this super-powered little girl that ended up dying because of her own, her own powers. And unfortunately, she didn't have a great upbringing, and she was used by Amanda Waller at one point, and probably by many other people. The Joker uses her in one episode, and Batman is the last person she's with, and she asks him, will you stay with me until the end? And it's so fucking good. It's incredible. He has the little the weapon that Amanda Waller gave him, like, hey, use this and you can kill her and you can end it that way. And she says, you don't intend to use it. And he says, no. He fucking throws it away. And that's fucking Batman wins again. That was probably a contingency plan right there against fucking Ace. But, it changed Batman. It affected him. And later on, you have the dog named Ace. He just holds her hand on the swing until that's it. A couple of years back, Kyle Higgins was writing the Batman Beyond series, and he said he was doing research. He was watching Batman Beyond and Unlimited, and he tweeted out, like, holy shit, guys, I think I just figured it out. Ace was named after Ace from the episode from Justice League Unlimited. And I'm like, Kyle, you just figured that out? Like, what the hell's going on? Kyle, you crazy. And he tweeted back with, you're smarter than me. I'm like, God damn, fuck, why am I the asshole now? And we never saw that story, like, revisited in Batman Beyond, written by Kyle Higgins. So I hope, like, I don't want to be the reason for it, but it's like, maybe he's like, fuck this then. I'm not going to write about it. This fucking guy. And I'm like, I don't think I was that mean. I just said, like, this is the first time you're, maybe it's when you read it that maybe the constants, oh well. You're probably right. Well, Kyle, you fucking idiot. That's how he read it, right? So, all right, Justice League Unlimited is your favorite non-Batman the Animated Series, although it is a Batman the Animated Series TV show. But it's not Batman the Animated Series. It kind of is. It's Batman and Friends the Animated Series. Okay, well, what is your choice after Justice League Unlimited or Justice League? I don't know. Beware the Batman was pretty good. Young Justice was pretty good. That's a Batman show, too. Any show with Batman in it is a Batman show. Basically. Because Batman just monopolizes it. It's true. He takes it all over. So we do want to thank all of you once again for submitting your questions, and we will remind you that if you ever do want to submit a longer form question, head on over to thereasonsimbroke.com, click on the drop-down menu button, and then click on Contact. You will have a form right there, and you can, write up a long thing, and we can read it on the air. And then if you want to contact us, if you want to follow us, there is a link for all of our social media sites like Tumblr and Pinterest right there on thereasonsimbroke.com. And while you're there, you can check out our shop. You can pick up a shirt. You have some new logos that went up a few months ago.
Yeah, we just posted the picture from MegaCon where we have the 90s style, the Reasons I
love
Broke
that
t-shirt.
shirt. Doesn't fit me anymore, but I love it.
Took a while to put together, too. It's sometimes you just have to walk away from the design and come back to it about a week later and be like, okay, this is where I need to make changes. And you it's a long process, and, we'll get there. But there is one new logo going up soon. I'm still waiting on the prototype t-shirt for it. Lazy Nerds Designs has been doing a lot of conventions recently, so very busy guy. But as soon as it is up and I'm comfortable and I like the logo and the placement, then I'll put it up on the shop. But yeah, that's also on thereasonsimebroke.com.
But that does wrap it up for us this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Kelli.
And I'm Daniel.
We'll see you on the next one.
Ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more.